back to another episode of Tim Time Design, and this morning I'm going to go for a little kayaking before we do the actual taping of some landscape, or actually a landscape project here in Door County. So I need to get a little exercise before I start work today. So sorry you can't come with me on the kayak tour because I'm too afraid that I may tip over and get the cameras wet. So we'll see you soon. Hi everybody, now that I did my exercise for the day, sometimes I think it's a week after doing kayaking, but I'm all refreshed and I'm going to talk to you today about a shade garden. As you know, in design, my philosophy, everything is meaningful, and I think even in outdoor landscaping, it's nice to have like a room or divisions, so it feels like the outside has areas to sit and what have you. So what I did here was, it's so extremely shaded. I'm sure you're going to be catching a lot of pictures here of trees and everything. There's literally no sunlight. So my inspiration was working with the landscape architect, because you still need one of those too, because I obviously don't know everything, and any designer who thinks they do, well, that's their issue. But I always look for professionals to help me in my designs as I kind of dream up things, but what will work. So what we had to do was stick with absolutely no light bearing plants. So with that, what we did was created this whole shade garden with all types of, these are ostrich ferns here, okay? This was just planted 3 days ago, and it was just completed. So these are ostrich ferns here. They're gonna get really high, and it's gonna be about 2 feet tall eventually, so you won't see any of this ground cover mulch or anything. So it's going to look like you're walking through this little forest, and that was my whole inspiration. As well as walking through, I'm going to just step back so the camera can kind of show the overall. I want to create a little trail or a pathway of sorts to walk through and all. And we brought in these boulders, which right now they're pretty much in your face, but again, they're going to be covered and nestled. So as you're walking through for the experience, it's more of just a little tiny walkway, and just to feel like you're in the woods, basically. What we used here was, this is actually an interesting product. It's actually crushed granite, but it's all red-based granite that gets stomped down very, very tightly, but yet it still has a little bit of a cushion. You're going to see another walkway here shortly that's just a regular stone gravel, which is white. But as this develops and everything over time, I wanted the pathway to look like dirt, but yet I didn't want the client to have dirt on their shoes and everything if they wanted to walk through here. What I like to do is have like some sort of artwork or something in the garden, just to give a little more color, especially in this environment because it's so heavily shaded, just to give a little sparkle. So we found this little iron and glass sculpture piece that was done by a local artist, and I thought it just was whimsy and nothing too serious, and just light looking. And actually right now, whoa, this is good timing. I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but we're getting a little bit of, you know, filtered light here that's kind of hitting the glass, and I just felt like something with glass would give it just a little reflection here. I know it's just on this one little post, this iron post, but again, remember these ostrich ferns are going to get up here, so it's almost going to appear that this is floating within the ferns. So I kind of like that whole kind of look, as we hope it's going to do, which it will do. So walking through this little path here, there's some hostas, some astilbes, some little evergreen at the driveway's edge, just to kind of soften things as you kind of come into the garden. And I don't know if we can turn here real quick and see. I thought this was very, very clever, in my mind anyway. Off over here, there was a tree, a dead tree, that we ended up shearing off and bringing in a piece of limestone to look like a table, except for the fact that it's really not a table to do anything to. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting look to go from stone, something so heavy, on this little rotten piece of birch tree. I just think it looks kind of clever, and I think you can, you know, eventually maybe a piece of sculpture could go here or what have you. And then of course we lined it again with more ferns, so it's going to look again that floating thing like with the sculpture, that this rock that the ferns will be supporting this rock. So I thought that was kind of a little play on things there. Very cool. What I wanted to do was not to have like a formal garden per se, because it's in the woods here, but still have like a woodland experience. And as you can see on the camera, it's all wild forest around. But I wanted to kind of keep that at bay, but still have somewhat tameness in the property itself. So that's how this whole thing kind of developed. So we did these two little paths. Again, they're quite noticeable, but later on it's all going to fill in and you won't see it. One thing I do love more than anything in a garden are rocks. Now, not little rocks, I guess they're more boulders because it did take, big machinery to bring these things in. I just think it looks more natural than just having everything flat and just plants. I just think in a woodland garden, I think you need some stone and stuff like that, just to make it look more organic. It was real interesting down at this end, as we exit this path here, you can kind of see the difference. This is the main walkway, like what I was talking about, the red crushed granite here, to just the regular stone, regular gravel path that kind of goes around the perimeter. I kind of like that mix. Right now it's really kind of black whitish here, but as this fills in, this will disappear and you won't even know there's a walkway. Now, this was key to me, was finding a rock, because I wanted a place that the client could sit and look at their garden. But I didn't want like a bench. And I looked exhaustedly for what could we do. So finally we found this big boulder, which ironically was completely flat, top and kind of sides. You can kind of see the age of the stone actually with all the water leaching. I don't know if that'll pick up on camera, but at any rate, I think it's great because it acts as a bench to sit here, look into the garden, have a cup of coffee, or just contemplate whatever you want to do. So I just think it worked out really, really nicely, and it doesn't look like a wood bench or an iron bench or whatever. So I think this worked out perfect. Now we're going to go over to another part of the garden on the property that has full sun, and you're going to see what I did there. So come on. Okay, so here was a different situation with the landscape because it's full sun 24/7 till nightfall, and it's right off the drive, but yet I wanted to have kind of, it's a very sweet morning spot for a cup of coffee, cup of tea, a late lunch, like after 4, the sun kind of moves beyond these trees. But my whole thought was I wanted a little path, but then here I needed some sort of a hardscape to put a table and chairs, which aren't here yet. But I wanted to frame it without having a gate or anything, so we found, again, another boulder and kind of put it kind of upright, obviously, here, to kind of just create just a little gate-like experience kind of walking in. Again, keeping with the regular traditional gravel base, and kind of a path leading you around. And if you look here to the right, my left, you can see how the woods is literally right there, okay? So we had to move this all back. Frogs were breeding here that were it was just a mess. I wish I had pictures to show you what this area looked like prior to what we did. Right now, a lot of this stuff is not in bloom, but it's getting ready to. This is one of my new favorite hydrangeas. They're called strawberry hydrangeas, and they get big flower plumage here. They start off white and then they go to like a strawberry pink, hence strawberry hydrangeas. And I love the redness of the stem with the green. So many hydrangeas are all green, and I just like the beauty of the contrast here before it gets actually the flower. So that's what's all in here. So anyway, I still wanted to have kind of walking into a room rather than bam, there you are. So what we did, we created a little stone gravel, and then we did limestone as a little patio here, so that you don't feel like you're sitting on gravel. And the idea here was to have 2 chairs with a little table, and this being much more tamed and formal in a way, but looking out at the wildlife. So that's what's going to happen here, is a little table and a pair of chairs. And at nighttime we have all kinds of lighting here and everything, and it's quite beautiful. I wish we could show it at night. These are some other wonderful plants. I love the size of this leaf here. I forget the name of this. I tried to leave the tabs so that the client has them for eternity. And I think I have, nope, it must have gotten blown away or something. But anyway, I love the contrast of colors. The big leaf, the little edge, the ruffled edge with the dark red. And again, kind of picking up that red stem. These will get big yellow plumes on them as summer continues. And then kind of here with the variegated leaf, some astilbes, which are very common. They're really good for both, actually. Astilbes work well in shade and partial shade. And they get these beautiful flower tips to them. They come in different colors, pink, white, a deep, deep red. But I wanted to bring in a little more color here, kind of coming around. And I think this is the cool thing that's going to happen in phase 5 on this landscape project. So we exit kind of the eating area kind of thing, seating area, and we kind of go back to a gravel path. And we kind of come around here, and yes, it gets a little scary going into the woods, right? Oh, we have some blooming flowers here, which will be pretty as we come down here. This was very cool. This we found actually in the woods here to my left, your right. It's actually a bow of a ship, small boat. And I said, I want to use this as an arbor. And I think it worked out really well. It goes down into the ground about 4 feet because we needed it to be pretty rigid. And then what we have here are non-fruit bearing avocado, actually, which we're in Wisconsin, but this particular plant can live here. I mean, freeze, whatever, it's not a problem. You can see on this side, it's really starting to take off. And it gets beautiful flowers in the fall. Oh, you hear Toby in the background. He's with me today. If you hear him barking, lately, he really always wants to be on set. So that's Toby. So the inspiration here, though, is to go from the formal garden, if you will, walk through the arbor, and eventually, what we're going to do is the property goes way back over in here. And what I want to do is actually do a walkway through the woods. But you can see how thick this is. So the idea is we're going to come through here with gravel. I'm still in the works of this. We're going to come through here and back, and we're going to clear out just about 5 feet with a 3-foot path of crushed stone that you're going to walk through here and have this whole experience that you'll be totally away from the house, totally quiet, totally one with nature. And I think it's going to be a really, really cool experience, and you're going to exit at the front part of their driveway. So here we are in Wisconsin at a wonderful landscape project that I thought was a lot of fun to do and create, and obviously still creating. And again, I thank you for joining and watching me again everywhere across the world. And because I just learned that I have viewers in China, Morocco, I can't, there's so many. So thank you all for viewing and watching Tim Time Design. And until next time, bye for now.